Hi, Booktube. Hi, everybody. Hi, Charlie. Hi, Charlie. How you doing, Charlie? Fred doesn't like Charlie at all. This should say Booktube. So anyway, welcome. And today I'm going to be giving you a brief review of the first 5 Travis McGee books by John D. MacDonald. And then I might rant a little bit about them. Other than that, I really need your help because I need to be talked down from my rant. So, John D. MacDonald has written, or had written, a ton of books. I think he wrote like 50 some books before he even started the Travis McGee books. And even if you don't know the Travis McGee books, you'll know it when I start talking about it in the different books. Especially if you see the covers that they used in the 80s for all of them that were very similar, to say the least. I got into John D. MacDonald not through Travis McGee, but the first book of his I read was the Brass Cupcake. I had mixed thoughts about it when I read it. With a girl like Letty, a guy never knew whether he was getting the brass cupcake, the gold ring, the wooden nickel, or the lead slug until it was too late. Take a hard-boiled ex-cop named Cliff Bartle. Take a beautiful girl with the unlucky name of Melody Chance. Add the death of one Elizabeth Stegman of Boston, Massachusetts, plus her missing jewels insured for $750,000. What have you got? Murder for profit, of course. Cold-blooded, premeditated murder. And there's something about what John D. MacDonald looks like bothers me a little bit. I don't know what it is. There's something about him. Just don't trust. This one's even worse. Look at him there. What is it? Please tell me in the comments why you would or would not trust that guy. So the Brass Cupcake is not one of the Travis McGee books. I don't even know why I'm talking about it. It kind of starts a pattern for me with John D. MacDonald, which is he comes up with a great story, very fascinating. There's a slow burn, a slow build, and then pages and pages and pages of cynical thought and reasoning, and then something amazing happens. Right when you are about to say, fuck this book, I'm not going to read it anymore, something happens that makes you go like, oh my gosh, I have to finish this book now. And then you do. You get to like the big climax and you're like, yeah, that was so good, that was so good. And then that's followed by fucking Return of the King. And there's like 4 fucking chapters of shit that really doesn't matter until you get to like the last page. And then you're like, oh, profound. The Travis McGee books are so like that. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because there's 21 Travis McGee books. And I read the first 5. This last one I read, A Deadly Shade of Gold, was really pushing me to my limits of how much I can handle. The Deep Blue Goodbye, when I read this, I really, really enjoyed it. The antagonist in it is a complete dick, but let me tell you a little bit about Travis McGee first before we get too far away. Travis McGee is one of the coolest ideas for a fucking character I've ever read. He is what he calls a salvage consultant. He lives on this houseboat called the Busted Flush, Slip F-18, Bahia Mar, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Sits on his boat, drinks, fishes, gets sun, parties, and then when he's about to run out of money, he takes a case of what we could say might be a slew of people asking him to do stuff, but he doesn't do anything unless he's almost out of money. So someone could come to him and they might not hear back from him for like 3 or 4 months because he hasn't run out of money yet. And as he puts it, he takes his retirement in installments. But what he does, say if you have something or you had something and somebody took it for whatever reason, for whatever nefarious means, you came across it or the person took it or whatever, and you can't go to the cops, you go to Travis McGee and he'll get it back, but he'll want 50% of the value of whatever it is. And when people get all pissed off, he's like, well, half of whatever you're gonna get is better than owning 100% of nothing. And that's how he operates. The funny thing is, in these first 5 books, that's the way he operates, but it doesn't really work like that, it seems. Let me just go into the Deep Blue Goodbye. So the Deep Blue Goodbye, this chick comes to him and says, "Oh, Travis, my dad was in the military and he stole a bunch of stuff from some country he was at and buried it somewhere near our house. And then he went to prison for what he did in the military and died there. And then this guy shows up who says he knew my dad, and then we end up dating, and then he ends up like beating the shit out of me and raping me." I'm paraphrasing a lot of this, by the way. He took the shit and now I want it back. He goes after this guy. And I don't know if it was how the world was, or the atmosphere was described, but I really, really liked the book, and I liked it way better than the Brass Cupcake. In reading this book, it made me appreciate Brass Cupcake more. And so I'm like, oh, the Deep Blue Goodbye, that's a great book, blah, 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 blah. So I hurry to get the next book, Nightmare in Pink. This is about him. He goes to an old army buddy or whatever. He's dying and he's worried about his sister up in New York. So Travis goes to check on her, finds some shit out about her dead husband or fiance or something. It was a while ago when I read it. Ends up getting tangled up in this huge fucking... Oh, I don't know if I should be cussing on this. I haven't decided if that's how I'm going to play this. But ends up in this whole huge, like, kind of conspiracy between the company the chick's husband worked for and some doctor and all this other stuff. I don't want to give too much of it away because that's kind of the book. The Nightmare in Pink is he has this hallucinogenic reaction to something, which is probably one of the better parts of the book, even though when it was happening, I didn't understand what was going on at first. And so that book was that. Funny story about the book. I originally started listening to the audiobook of that. And I have to say that the guy, oh man, I should have looked it up. The guy who does the audiobooks of all the Travis McGee books is really good. And his interpretation of Travis McGee is kind of exactly what you would expect it to be. So it's really, really good. I was driving up the mountain coming home and I'm listening to the book, and because I was on the highway beforehand, I had it up really loud in my car, and then I got off the highway and I was in town and I pulled up at a stoplight and I had the audiobook blaring, the windows are down, it's hot outside, whatever. Right up in front of a school, okay? Kids are crossing the crosswalk. Stopped at a light right as Travis McGee, and I think her name was Nina, start having a love scene. And as he's like doing what you do in audiobooks and doing everyone's voice, he's going like this for Nina. And all of a sudden it's like, Travis. And it's like this horrific love scene thing where she's just like screaming his name in ecstasy or whatever. And I'm sitting there and all these people are looking at me while I'm having this freaking dude in a girl's voice hit the high note, you know what I'm saying? So that turned me off to the book. And that was about halfway through the book. So like I walked away from it for a long time, probably like 3 or 4 months. I couldn't go back to hearing him, because as I heard him talk after that, all I could think of was him in the studio, like doing all that, and it was just like too much for me. So I ended up reading the ebook version and finishing the rest of the book that way. Now, when I first read it, I was like, yeah, that was okay. It takes place in New York, instead of Florida. And it was all right, but I think that whole orgasm thing really like took it out of me. I gotta keep going because this is a great character. He's gonna get into some awesome adventures and I should just follow along with it. So I go to Purple Place for Dying. Now, Purple Place for Dying is, looking back, just like Nightmare in Pink, looking back, is a much better book than I thought it was when I was reading it. But the premise for this, he's in like Texas or something, I think. Is he in Texas or Arizona? I don't know. He's in like some western place. And he goes with this chick to this fucked up cabin in the middle of nowhere, where she's going to have him live while he tries to get her trust fund back from her husband. Well, he's about to say he's not going to take the case, and then all of a sudden, like, her chest explodes, and all of this, like, lung tissue and skin and bone goes all over his front, and I don't know how he didn't get hit with the bullet, but she got shot by some dude out in the rocks or wilderness or whatever. He got away, he goes and gets the cops, and when he comes back, the body's gone. And so nobody believes him, and so he's like, I'm gonna stick with this and all this other crap. And so that one was kinda, I was like, But again, like, you start going and the book gets a little slow and it gets a little dry and it's just a bunch of cynical back chat where he's just talking and you're getting, and then all of a sudden something fucking amazing happens and you're like, holy shit! And you want to finish the book. So that's what I did. And then I get to The Quick Red Fox. Now, The Quick Red Fox sounds like it's going to be a great book, not by the title. I think the title's kind of not the best. It's about this starlet Hollywood star who had some crazy hardcore orgy and photos were taken of her doing unspeakable things. Someone was blackmailing her. And so this takes place in Hollywood. And you're like, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is kind of cool. And it goes some other places too, but that's like where a lot of the meat of the story is. It was really good. And then I think the end of that book, like the last chunk of that book, was probably my favorite out of all of them so far. The end was so unexpected and shocking to me, and how he reacted, that I was just blown away, and it made me forget about how unhappy I was getting to that point. And so finally I go to a Deadly Shade of Gold, book 5, and I don't have that, so I got the audiobook of it, and it's like twice as long as any of the other books have been. Well, maybe not twice, but at least pretty close to twice as long. So, I mean, his other audiobooks were like 5 or 6 hours, and then Deadly Shade of Gold and on, I think everything's over 10 hours, 11, 12 hours, even more than that. I listened to that, and this one, he's back in Florida for the first chunk of the book, and then he goes to Mexico for the next chunk of the book, and then he goes to LA for the next chunk of the book. This book really, to me, almost felt like 3 separate stories. The amount of characters, I was having a hard time keeping track of who was who. Parts of it were amazing again, you know, like, they were just really good, but then it wasn't, and then it was really good again, and then like 4 fucking chapters of humming and hawing over anything you could possibly think of. And I understand the idea of bringing a reader down after the height of the climax, but it seems like his falling action at the end, just instead of it going down like this, it goes like this. And you're just like, what the fuck is going on here? Okay, so now here is my beef with Travis McGee. And if you like Travis McGee books, or just John MacDonald books in general, help me out here, because this is what I don't understand. Okay, Travis McGee lives out his retirement in installments. He has hot chicks all over the place all the time. He drinks like a sailor, just lives the life, has a good time. And he bangs whatever girl he wants when he's on the boat, even if he, in talking about it, really doesn't like doing it. It's just some primal thing that he has to do, even though it's so stupid and blah 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 blah. But then like when you get into the book and he's on like some sort of case or whatever, he gets really cynical and shitty about the whole banging chicks, like especially in the Quick Red Fox. I just feel like the attitude he has towards sex doesn't make any sense for the character that's been created and what he does. It doesn't seem to fit, and it seems inconsistent when, because there are times when he'll just go to bed with a chick. He'll spend pages talking about how ridiculous the act is or whatever and just go on, but then he does it anyway. But it's just like, I don't know, it's awkward, and it's awkward to hear, and then I get irritated when it does that. I don't know. But the other thing that drives me crazy is that he'll spend like a page or two talking about something that's not crucial to the story at all. It's like crucial to the character. It's almost like when you know somebody's lying about something in real life and they have to kind of convince themselves by just talking it over out loud 100 times before they actually start believing it themselves. Then all of a sudden he'll go, and then we went to a bar, had drinks, I met a girl, and now we're at her place. So like all this stuff that could have been like part of the story or worth a damn just gets glossed over, and then all of a sudden you're 4 places later in just a couple sentences, and you're going, and you like stop for a second and go, where the fuck am I right now? Like, why am I here? And just a second ago I was here being pissed off and cynical about Florida swamp life, and now I'm here, or I'm upset about the convenience of a grocery store, and I'm gonna bitch about it for fucking 5 pages. And now I'm gonna go back here and beat the shit out of this guy to get some information. It's just like, it's so all over the place. And I think a lot of it is John MacDonald, like, coming out in some of the things that bother him and upset him and whatever. But it just seems sometimes that it doesn't fit the character. And I know some people will argue that, and that's fine. It's just the way I see it. But because Travis McGee, the idea of him as a character is so flippin' amazing, and how the series spans 3 decades, I want to keep going with it. I hate not finishing stuff, so I'm gonna keep going with it, but I don't want to go into it feeling shit about it. So, anyway, if you have anything to say about this, if you have any words of wisdom or ways to help me out about this, please leave a comment below and let me know, because I would like to have a better feeling about the Travis McGee books. So, yeah, like and subscribe and do what you do. Tell your friends, have a party, invite a bunch of people over, and watch me bitch about stuff. And yeah, and I guess that's it. So, see you later, everybody.